Hey everyone, my name is Adi, and today we are going to learn how to paint a bunny with gouache. Let's start with a question. How can you paint a white bunny over white paper? The answer is to paint around with another color and keep the white areas untouched. The darker the other color will be, the more white the white will be, and the more the white will pop out. I am using a pointy and soft brushes over a watercolor paper, 300 gram. Use the biggest brush that you can and switch to smaller brushes when you need to. For the details, I will use a very thin brush. You don't have to make the background unified. Gouache is known to be the medium between watercolor and acrylic. To make gouache more transparent, you can add water to it. Water can also reactivate the paint after it dried. Unlike watercolor, but similarly to acrylic, you can go over dark layers of color with light color. Also, if you want to change something, you can just go over it with new layer of paint. Thanks to the ability of the paint to reactivate, you can blend between previous layers that you made and new layers. Do you remember that in the video about oil colors we talked about the fact that you need to go over with new color to create transitions between different areas? So in gouache you don't necessarily have to. There is one thing you should better not do when painting with gouache. Don't go over what you already painted with water or with a paint that is too diluted, because it will remove what you painted in an ugly way. What colors can I add to create the shadow, the darker areas of something that is white? It depends on the shade of white, the lighting, and also the colors that are around it and can affect the white. As you can see, I placed and mixed the colors on a palette beforehand. I'm using a darker brown in the eye, but I'm still keeping parts of the eye white for the highlights. Highlights in eyes are very important. They make an animal or a person look more alive. When creating the dark part of the eye, it's better to have different shades in it. The colors that I have been using for the background and the body of the bunny are: number 1, light blue, cerulean blue. Number 2, grey mixed with light blue. And the third, brown, burnt umber mixed with white or with water. Every new layer that covers the body of the bunny will be darker and will cover less space. When painting or drawing hair or fur, the idea is not to paint every single hair, because we can't see with our eyes every single hair. Most of them are lost in the general thing. So as you can see, I started with creating a base layer. Then I'm now dividing it to sections. And only in the end I will add details like single hair. The brush strokes should follow the direction of the hair. We tend to think that some animals are cuter than others. So what causes us to think that one animal is cuter than another? This is probably subconscious, but we are more likely to find cuter the animals with the same characteristics of human babies, like having a big head in proportion to the body and big eyes in proportion to the head. It's important not to make a line that separates the head and the body, because there is no such a line in the first place, and it will be creepy. The outline of the bunny shouldn't be too defined. Let groups of hair break the shape and go outside of it. In order to avoid getting your colors muddy, clean your brush in one container and wipe off the water. When you take water to make your paint more diluted, use a different container for clean water. So only one container gets dirty while you paint. You always have one container with fresh water. I want to create a stronger contrast between the shadows and the white. When painting fur or hair, it's better that it's messy. If you make it too organized, it will not feel realistic and natural. Hair and fur have volume. Try to avoid making it look like it is glued to the body or head. The pink line around the eye has light and shadow as well, so it should have lighter areas and darker areas as well. I think that eyes are one of the most important things in painting portraits of people or animals. The moment you add the eyes to the painting, it transforms it. There is one more thing that I would like to mention about the colors I used in this video. I think it's better to be careful when using grey and brown. When there is a lot of brown or grey in a painting, it may cause a painting to be dull. The reason is probably depends on how we interpret color. So this is one of the reasons why I added light blue to the grey. It still looks grey, but it makes it look more lively. I should do a different video or videos just for explaining colors. I include in my videos explanations that you are probably not going to find in any other place about different aspects of painting. It may be a little bit overwhelming if you are new to painting, and it can be hard to remember everything. It can make it easier to watch the video more than once, and to paint it as an exercise and pause the video in every step. I hope that with every tutorial I can take you further in your journey of learning art. I hope you will enjoy this video and that it will help you with your paintings. You can let me know in the comments what subjects and materials you would like me to cover in a tutorial. And you can write about questions that you have. I am blending some of the ear, so there will not be a sharp transition. When creating the brown groups of hair, I make sure that the lines don't start and end at the same height, and also that they are not in the same length, in order to have some kind of separation between the bunny and the background, and so that the bunny will feel more three-dimensional and real. It's important to create the shadows that the bunny casts. The shadow is darker the closer it is to the bunny. I'm adding the shadows near the feet as well. The shadow fades as it gets away from the bunny. When I made the background, I also let the color disappear to the white of the paper. When painting or drawing, you don't have to fill all the paper. I will make some separation between the toes, but they shouldn't be too bold. I use shadow to create some separation between the body to the feet, but it's better not to overdo it. So now that everything is in place, we can add more details. To create a single hair effect, use a thin brush. Make sure that the white that you are using is opaque and not too diluted with water, so that it will be able to cover darker areas. I'm adding those lines in the body and also lines that come out of the body. You can throw the brush, lift it when it gets away. I don't want any area to be too much of the same thing, so it's good to break it with another color. If you are watching this video, it means that we probably have at least two things in common: the love for art and the love for animals. We took care so well of our bunny Tampa. It makes me feel sad to think about animals that aren't as lucky. Cosmetic animal testing is when a company uses animals as subjects for experiments in order to create cosmetic products. It is very cruel, in my opinion, and cosmetic animal testing is banned in some countries. My country, Israel, too, but not everywhere, unfortunately. In order to prevent this phenomenon, as customers, we can buy products that are cruelty-free, have not been tested on animals, often marked with a bunny sign. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.